You've heard us talk about them. They're in, and they're on the website.
Absolutely. Our brand new America's Diesel podcast, branded bills, badass, flex fit, performance material, sweat stain resistant. It literally feels like it cools your head.
I don't know how that's
amazing.
possible, but somehow it is. Yeah, you can rock it. You know, I'm more of a flat bill kind of guy. You can do that. You can curve it. For all you taco holder guys, you can even throw that in there.
Yeah.
And then snap back with a little bit of the flex fit.
Yeah.
Big head approved, small head approved.
And it's extremely comfortable. I almost guarantee, I say almost guarantee. No, I guarantee this is the most comfortable hat you will ever wear. And the logo, rubber. Awesome.
Yeah.
Came out great.
Super detailed rubber on there, so it's never going to fade on you. If you want to get one of these in your hands, they are $50, shipped to the lower 48, plus tax, if applicable in your state. Just go on the dieselpowerproducts.com, search hat, look for the fantastic Jam and Eagle logo, pick yourself up some before they're out of stock.
Yeah.
You're listening to America's Diesel Podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, I am actually super stoked that I found out about this from Freightliner. This is actually from a listener, Aaron59. Thank you for making me aware of this. While this is for like medium heavy-duty truck stuff, it's still very interesting for a couple of reasons which we're going to talk about. And the main thing we're going to talk about here is International released a new engine. It is the S13. And, ladies and gentlemen, there's no EGR cooler. All right. Yeah.
This week's podcast episode is brought to you by Fuel Bomb Diesel Additive, an additive designed for diesel enthusiasts, made by diesel enthusiasts. Ben, take it away.
Hell yeah, dude. So this is our in-house Fuel Bomb fuel additive for your diesel truck. Our biggest thing here is making sure that you can pretty much always have diesel additive on you all the time. You've got a lot of other additives out on the market that they have, anti-gel in there all the time. They have cetane in there all the time. They end up being big and bulky bottles. Our standard everyday diesel fuel additive is 1 ounce per 32 gallons, and that's its main job is to make sure that your fuel system stays lubricated and prevents the formation of algae. And it should also help you in colder climates too.
Should definitely help you in colder climates. Along with cleaning your fuel system and maintaining it, it'll also help you bump that cetane number up for a more efficient burn of your diesel fuel. And if cetane is just what you're after, there's the Fuel Bomb Hellfire, which is our straight 8+ cetane enhancer.
Yeah, and you guys asked, and we brought them back. We did go away from the bottles that didn't have the measuring little parts in there. We brought them back for you, so now you can measure out your 1 ounce per 32 gallons for the F-Bomb or 4 ounces per 32 gallons for the Hellfire.
Both these additives are available on our website, dieselpowerproducts.com. Now let's get back to that episode.
Thanks for tuning in. This is Ben and Tom from America's Diesel Podcast. Make sure and check us out on all the normal podcast avenues. I'm trying to keep this intros shorter now because I realize that most of our freaking episodes are all intro. So make sure and check us out there. iTunes, Spotify, anywhere you can listen to podcasts, you can check us out there. On the social medias, we are trying to pump up our Instagram numbers. We do go live every Wednesday around 5 p.m. Pacific time. We just got off one of those live sessions right now, which was super fun. We greatly appreciate everybody tuning into those. They have been growing in numbers. So if you want to have a beer with the boys and have a candid talk, and I mean a freaking candid talk, and also...
You might be able to see my toes.
You might see Tyler's toes, and you might... You never know who might be listening there. We had a guy that works at AirDog in there listening and watching, commenting. Yeah. That's awesome. So you may get a chance to talk to people that you may not normally get a chance to talk to. So that's really cool. I really enjoy doing that. We are also, it is decided as of that live chat, we are going to create our own private Facebook group. I don't know what it's going to be called yet, but don't be worried. I'll make sure it's easy to find, and we can get spicy memes and spicy chats going on there. Tyler, reviews.
Oh, yeah. Let's keep those reviews coming in on any of the platforms that you listen to podcasts on, preferably Apple iTunes. If you could leave us a 5-star review, we'd greatly appreciate it. Screenshot your review and send it to podcast@dieselpowerproducts.com. Make sure to include a picture of your truck and an address so we can send a decal to. It looks just like logo on our badass brand new Brandon Bills hats with our awesome rubber America's Diesel Podcast logo. They're sick.
Yeah.
That's it.
My daughter's been chewing on mine. It still looks great.
Yeah.
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 Lastly, if you need parts for your diesel pickup, make sure and check out dieselpowerproducts.com. We do have parts on the website, ready to rock all the time. If you see that quick ship logo up by the part number, that means it's verified in stock, ready to rock. Click the button, let it ride. You can be assured that it'll ship out ASAP. If you have questions on anything you need, make sure to give our sales techs a jingle. They're on the phones 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Pacific time, Monday through Friday. And if you are a podcast listener, let them know. We do appreciate any orders from podcast listeners because it kind of shows the guys upstairs that we are not down here just drinking beer, floating around, but people that listen to us actually buy parts, and money makes the world go round. Also, very last part of it, if you are listening to this podcast, which is obviously sponsored heavily by Diesel Power Products, and you are not buying your diesel parts at dieselpowerproducts.com, I would like to know why. Good, bad, happy, or sad. I have received a few emails already. I honestly, the constructive criticism is fantastic. You guys have all kept a very, I've had some like, I didn't buy from you becauses, and they're honestly like, I feel bad about it.
Yeah.
Like, and it's not because anyone did anything bad. It's just, it's information, and that's the information we want because we want to grow. We want to be the best, and we can't find out what's going to make us the best unless we find out what we're doing wrong. So this is not a referendum. Don't email me every time something goes wrong in your life. Maybe you do. I don't know. Maybe I'm that guy. Who knows? But yeah, legitimately, good, bad, happy, or sad. If you are buying parts for your diesel truck and you're not buying it from us, but you are listening to this podcast, I like to know why, because you never know. We might be able to change it. We may be missing some low-hanging fruit because, as I said before, money makes the world go round.
Yes.
Speaking of money making the world go round, International.
IH.
Well, yeah.
Is it still IH?
It should, we'll call it IH, whatever. They release, and thank you, Aaron59, for bringing this to my attention. And normally we don't get too much into heavy-duty stuff, mostly because we just don't know a whole lot about it. I know I don't. Tyler probably knows more than I do. Corey worked on some medium and heavy-duty trucks, right?
Correct.
Yeah, so Corey, honestly, you're probably one of the most educated people in the room as far as like heavy-duty stuff goes.
Meh.
Come on. Give yourself a little pat on the back. Like,
Well, what's cool with heavy duty stuff, usually that's where most of the innovation happens, and it bleeds down into our market.
Yeah,
so,
the consumer market bleeds. You get two things that bleed down. You get the high performance guys, and you also have the truck drivers, which is kind of funny when you think about it, because you have literally the most unreliable trucks trickling down to influence the market, and literally the most reliable trucks that have to be reliable trickling down and affecting the market. It's kind of funny. Yeah.
So this new engine, I know nothing about it. I briefly looked at it when Ben sent it to me on Instagram, and then he came into my office basically with a freaking
raging hard on. Raging hard on. My pants were tight.
Yeah, I was like, whoa, bro. Whoa.
So the reason that this gets me so amped, and right off the bat, is that the fact that it does not have an EGR cooler.
Yeah.
It still has an EGR system.
Which, in all honesty, I kind of thought that engines might go this route just because they are even like the technology that like Dynamite Diesel does with their injectors, as far as making trucks burn cleaner. Like there's got to be a way to be able to perform and burn clean at the same time without utilizing some of these emissions components, and that's exactly what these guys are doing.
So, and the other part that I neglected to mention there, also fixed vane turbo.
Yeah. Do they have a other side of the engine that shows a turbo, or they talk about it here?
I think they do if you scroll down more.
So transmission.
Let's talk about this a little bit. There it is, right there. So it is a 13
that's
liter.
like a water. Wait. What is that? No, that's the exhaust.
Big box. It's a dual stage aftermarket after treatment.
That's wild.
So what's the whole MO behind International doing this? And I watched their big 40-minute official reveal. Is they are trying to, and I'm going to kind of put this in a very condensed form here. So International is keying off of our Hydroid episode with Cummins. International is basically like, look, we understand that things are moving towards electric, okay? But they're not there yet. So this is the last internal combustion engine that we are designing. And it's not because we're sad. It's not because we're mad. It's because we need to make sure that we are, staying current, but also moving with the times. And you've heard us talk about electric stuff before. The forcing people to go to electric at this stage, preemptive. It's too premature. I don't like it. I don't like the way it's going because I think people are finally starting to hopefully look at the not long term, but what does it actually take? Yeah. Unfortunately, it's after they say everything, and I feel like a lot of diesel guys have been preaching that for a while now.
Keep it on that, Corey. That black box.
But International is wanting to be 50% carbon net zero so carbon neutral by 2030. So that's 7.5 years from now, and they want to be 100% zero. I think it was by 2040 or 2050. So and they say it in their launch. They're just like, we understand the technology will get there, but it is not there yet. The infrastructure is nowhere near being what it needs to be to actually be able to have, electric semi-trucks.
Yeah.
Not there, which I agree. It's not there. Okay. Totally agree. So they made this engine, and the whole idea with this is reliability and simplicity. So they're trying to, in my opinion, they wanted to get away from things that were causing engines to have downtime.
100%. I mean,
so think about
eliminating
actuators.
Eliminating EGR coolers, which is when you've got two separate things flowing into a cooler, i.e. coolant
they
and
should
exhaust.
not be next to each other.
That shouldn't be next to each other. Well, that leaves room for failures, because if people don't service their coolant and you start getting that buildup in the EGR cooler, that clogs it, and then you got insufficient flow. It's not cooling the EGR gas the way it should. Then more soot builds up, and it just ends up clogging the cooler. So they've eliminated that, and then going to the fixed vane turbo, which eliminates actuator issues. Like fixed vane turbo is like honey badger; it doesn't give a shit.
No, we don't care.
Yeah, it's just gonna, as long as you feed it oil and clean air, like it doesn't care.
Yeah.
This little box though is very, very interesting.
It is a dual stage next gen after treatment, and they actually start the treatment of the exhaust almost immediately from the exhaust leaving the turbo.
Yeah, there's no active regens.
No active regens, and the reason I like that a lot here. So when you're driving, when you're using the engine, the EGR is 100% not active. You are no longer recycling, from what I can tell here, okay? And again, I'm going off International's page.
Yeah.
And I read it like 3 or 4 times. They are focusing on when you need the power and you need the efficiency, you need it, and we're going to give it to you. But when you don't need it is when we're going to start, we're going to basically take the load off of the dual stage exhaust treatment and put it back on the EGR.
Yeah.
And
they removed the DOC, the diesel oxidation catalyst, because it doesn't need it.
Doesn't need it.
That's honestly that I'd like to see like a cutaway of that box.
Yeah.
Because it's like when you have exhaust from a 5 or 4 inch pipe going into a box and then out one side, like it like that looks weird.
Yeah.
But I mean, if it works, it works. That's epic.
Let's get some stats real quick here. Corey, scroll down ever so slightly. Keep going too far. Detailed specs, orange button, middle, right there. Click on that. So let's get some of these details out of the way here.
I thought you said 4-cylinder.
I did too. The first time I saw it, like, whoa. So it's inline 6. Obviously, it's 12.7 liters. They're calling it a 13. Compression ratio 23-1. I believe it said it was running 1,800 bar injection pressure, which is approximately 26,000.
Engine lubrication 47.5 quarts.
Hell,
holy shit.
Yeah,
that is a lot of that makes Power Strokes like.
The design life is basically 1.2 million miles before you need to rebuild.
That's pretty good. Usually, guys, around 1 million miles, they start doing in frames or something like that.
And their engine warranty. And this may be a standard in the heavy duty industry, but I'd never heard it before because, again, I'm not super versed in heavy duty stuff. But they are talking about being able to have such customizable engine and transmission options for people for this.
Go back up again. Sorry.
That they are going to be offering
a little bit more.
Basically downtime warranties. Like they're going to say if you follow our maintenance and you do what you're supposed to do, your truck will be operational, working for this amount of hours, for this amount of miles. If it's not, we will cover you warranty wise.
Yeah. Dual overhead cam.
That's rad.
Yeah. What? Yeah. That's cool. That's cool.
It's 4-valve engine, dual overhead cam.
Which isn't there other engines that run overhead cams, big engines?
I don't remember.
Well, especially a dual overhead cam.
I'm trying to remember back in my days of. I can't remember. Anyways.
Well, I know a lot of the old school like 2-strokes have that overhead cam like that.
Yeah. But no, that wasn't overhead cam. Never mind. Yeah. No.
So again, me and Tyler's
heavy duty
knowledge again is not super in depth. Honestly, this makes me want to learn more though. So one of the things that I really like about this is they're calling a spade a spade. International is basically saying, look, we get it, electric's coming, but it's not yet. So we're going to have this engine. This is going to be our platform that we're going to use, and this is going to be their European and American engine. And I think, and they're mating it with a 14-speed automatic, which if you scroll down more, they've got ratios in there and whatnot, which I don't know.
Stay right there. I just want to see what it says right there is.
Yeah.
Deep low end gearing and shifting smoothness, delivering efficiencies of a direct drive in an overdrive package, 14-speed with 2 crawler gears, a lightweight, efficiently packaged and robustly designed gearbox, single countershaft transmission design for simplicity and reliability.
They said this a bunch of times, and they said it's a planetary gear set.
Really?
Yes.
It's like an Allison.
Yeah.
The ISX was dual overhead cam, I believe.
That's the one I was thinking of.
Yeah.
I'm sure all the heavy duty guys right now are like, how did you not know that? Sorry,
Because we
guys.
don't work on them. Sorry. We don't mess with them.
But I think this engine is really cool for the main reason of when it came to emissions equipment. For those of you that don't know, this is one fact I do know about heavy duty stuff. As far as emissions equipment goes on heavy duty trucks, 2010 was the hard implementation year. They all had to be that way, and that's when they all started getting like officially checked. It wasn't like I know that the passenger trucks, like pickup trucks, were 07 and a half, 07, 08 is when it happened, but they weren't really checking, if you will. Deletes were very easy to find. It wasn't that big of a deal. But with the emissions stuff, for basically what's happening now happened for semi trucks in 2010.
Yeah.
They cracked down really, really, really hard, which is obviously a lot easier to do when you have semi trucks and they're monitored a lot harder.
Yeah.
So I think it's cool that someone finally went a different direction than the normal. You have to have an EGR valve. You have to have an EGR cooler. You have to have a DPF.
DOC.
You have to have a DOC. You have to have all this stuff. You have to have a VGT style turbo.
Yeah.
And I like the fact that at the end of the day, they're looking at the end number.
Yeah.
And I think it's very Clay from ATS on this. It's very like, what's the end goal here? Cleaner, right? Cleaner all the time, right? I've got something that can make it cleaner. Oh, you denied my parts that make this cleaner.
Yeah.
Okay. What's the goal here? Okay. Like, and for international to kind of take a step and be like, no, we can do this. And we did it. And this is what it's going to be.
Yeah.
I'm really excited.
I think it's cool. I still kind of think that the Cummins hydrogen power is kind of cooler.
Well, we have two very different takes on this. We have someone going like, we know
because
we have
I don't believe the hydrogen had any emissions equipment whatsoever.
Well, we learned what's the byproduct? Basically, like water.
Yeah.
Water and air.
Also, we couldn't see anything past all those wires.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. We definitely. But I did like the ability of the retrofitting of engines, which is cool. Which Cummins is definitely. I think it's cool. I think it'd be cool to see these trucks side by side, these engines side by side, and compare them.
There was a horsepower and torque rating. I think if you scroll up or at least go to the previous page, I want to say horsepower was around 5.25, and torque was 19 something. It's probably in the very top. Scroll down a little bit, down a little bit, down a little bit. And again, we will have this link posted on our YouTube page. That's the easiest place for us to put links on there. I think it's in this next blurb.
13.
Nope, keep going. Delivering the goods. Okay, yeah.
515 horsepower.
515 and 1850 torque. That's awesome.
Yeah. I mean, for a heavy duty engine in a truck, torque is king.
I don't know where the other one was, but I saw that they are making. It's able to make its peak torque at 900 RPM.
Wow. Wow.
I think if you keep scrolling around somewhere, it's going to say that. But that's one of the things that really kind of, like, I was like, oh, holy shit, that's really awesome.
Yeah, in full torque is available at only 900 RPM, and the wide gear ratio means optimal efficiency on flatlands with the performance drivers crave on hilly terrain. So new compression release brake. Wow. I think it's cool. I think it's definitely cool. It's again, I don't think, especially the diesel truck industry, whether we're talking light duty or heavy duty, I don't think there is a need to have a bunch of money in like electric technology when we could put that same money into diesel technology or hydrogen or natural gas and making a cleaner running internal combustion engine. There's no reason that we can't do that. We're already doing more than any other country in the freaking world. And just because we clean up our act a little bit, doesn't mean that the rest of the freaking world is. So that's the thing that I have such a hard time wrapping my head around and like understanding, like, or getting behind this kind of stuff. Like I can get behind this, like, yes, especially when the EPA creates these laws or these, people have to meet these standards, but at the same time, it just is irrelevant when it's like when you have like me, you, Corey, we're all stealing from the same grocery store, but they only put laws on people with the name Tyler.
Yeah.
But you two are still like it just doesn't make sense to me. It's just that's the hardest thing for me to get behind. If like the whole world was like, yeah, this is a huge problem, we need to do this, we're doing this, this, and this, like everybody, it'd be easier for guys like us to get behind something like that. But I think there's a lot of refinements that can be done with even the engines that we have today. Just again, name drop, Dynamite Diesel with just what they're doing with injectors. And I remember him, like the first time we had him on here, he's talking about just even like flowing stock injectors and the inconsistencies with stock injectors, and then what they can do with the machinery that they have to make these trucks burn cleaner. If you get your truck to burn cleaner, it's going to use less EGR. It's going to use it's going to go through regen less, which is all a plus. And then if we can get to the point where we can eliminate some of those componentry, emissions componentry, and still have a truck that builds power, I think is the way to go. But like you said, with like infrastructure and that sort of thing, like electric is off the table. I know we talk about it all the time. We joke about it all the time. I've only ever seen one person charging an electric car in the city of Spokane ever at one of these charging stations that probably cost millions of dollars to put in, whatever the hell it costs. I think it's cool, but I highly doubt by 2030 that, it's going to be like a hard line. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I think that
we are talking about the government here.
Yeah. Well, I think that's a bit of a, I don't know, like they...
Hold on. DPF filter does not need to be cleaned or replaced until 650,000 miles. That's pretty wicked. 2 DEF injectors, dual stage catalyst upstream and midstream DEF dosing. Wonder how much DEF it goes through compared to a truck with a filter.
Yeah.
I don't know. This is all new. But yeah, I'd definitely like to see how this stacks up against the hydrogen power.
Yeah, me too. I think we just need to see more with the hydrogen power, because this is obviously it's a diesel engine with different components and some components missing that we all know about, but the hydrogen stuff is still so new. Well,
but this is still a diesel fuel engine, which is cool that they're able to create, an engine that runs this efficiently while just using pump diesel.
Yeah,
which is cool. Yeah. Oh, what is that? That's pretty. But yeah, there's that box, but
yeah, the mystery box.
The mystery box.
Yeah.
What's in the box?
What's in the box? Oh no. Yeah, I think this is really cool. I'm going to be following it. They've also made some of the other stuff they talk about, but they don't really talk about too much in the literature we just read here. But they've done quite a bit of aerodynamic improvements on the truck to make sure it's as slippery as possible, which also I think is really cool. I just think International, and I'm not trying to like fanboy International because I'm a 7.3 guy, right?
Yeah.
I think what Cummins is doing is cool. I like innovation. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not a person who thinks everything was done right 20 years ago. We should go back to that. I understand times change. The more information we have at our disposal, the better. But as you've heard us talk about it before, it's all about the process and how you go about doing these things and doing it correctly.
Yeah.
If you have information, use the information. And if there's questions that are unanswered, you can't assume those answers until you make more information.
Yeah.
We have the ability. We've got telescopes looking into, James Webb Telescope, which if you're not following that, I highly recommend you start looking at James Webb Telescope images. It's freaking amazing.
Yeah.
But, we're just down here on little Earth trying to figure out how to make this stupid piece of metal, move a whole bunch of weight, a whole bunch of miles with using as little, consumables as possible.
Yeah.
And if that's the name of the game, that's the name of the game. I'm all for it.
Yeah.
And if the goal, if they develop, 1 year from now, if they figure out the whole, we can make batteries out of renewable resources, it's going to have zero environmental impact or, less environmental impact, because we can tell, we've done studies, we figured out it does have less environmental impact, whatever, and we're going to start phasing them out. If they can actually show that it does actually have less of an environmental impact, I'm not someone who's going to say, the environment has to die on my behalf of enjoying a 5-inch straight pipe.
Yeah.
Okay. As much as I love a 5-inch straight pipe. Okay. Don't get me wrong. Fucking love it.
Yeah.
But also at the end of the day, I get it.
Yeah.
Things change. All right. And this is a little bit of a referendum on a conversation I had with my dad many, many years ago.
Okay.
I was still in high school. And it's weird to see this playing out right now because you think back to it. So yeah, I graduated high school in 2004. And so it would have been like 03, 04, roughly in there. I started driving, and I was always interested in cars.
Yeah.
I love taking apart cars. My dad had cars. We'd take them apart, put them back together. We work on them together and stuff like that. And my dad, I surpassed my dad as far as gearhead status very early on in my life.
Yeah.
But just being able to be around that kind of stuff and use tools, we always did that.
Yeah.
And I remember my first ever job was at a catering service, which I don't count that because I was 14. But my first job where I actually got it on my own, had my own boss, I had a boss and that was at Pet Boys. I worked at Pet Boys in Sacramento, specifically Rancho Cordova. Ew. And
I love that place.
yeah,
It's great.
it was on McGregor Avenue. Was it Folsom Boulevard, McGregor Avenue? That's what it was. If you know, you know. If you don't, you don't.
Yeah. I don't.
Yes, I used to work there, and I'm pretty sure the manager I had still works there.
Wow.
I went in
He's a
there.
lifer.
Probably, yeah, Ken. I went in there probably, 7 or 8 years after I left, and he was still there.
Still there. Just
Still there. And I almost wanted I could see him. He obviously didn't recognize me. I've obviously changed a lot since I was, not a lot, but enough to where if you're a manager working there, you're not going to all of a sudden see, hey, you're that kid. He's probably had 100 employees since then, right?
Yeah.
I was like, I'm not.
Yeah, you weren't that memorable.
Yeah, I'm not going to be. Oh, I'm sure. I got a couple of. That's kind of whatever.
It's another story.
Yeah, it's another story for another time, right? But I remember going home and talking to my dad about this kind of stuff. And my dad was the air traffic controller, and I was kind of I like working on cars. And my dad would say it's never a bad idea to learn a skill like that. If you want to continue with this and you want to go to a trade school, I support that. The main thing is you got to keep moving forward. So, whatever you want to do, if you want to be a mechanic, go ahead, be a mechanic. You want to be an air traffic controller? That's fine. You want to go be a scientist? I don't give a shit. You want to work at a computer? I don't care.
Yeah.
You just got to keep moving forward. Okay. Also, very glad he instilled that in me. But I remember one of the things that he said, and I'm going to... The anecdote that he put, I can't remember, but I remember the gist of it, which was basically knowing how to work on cars is a skill that's going to serve you for your entire life. You eventually, that skill will not be needed, but not in your lifetime, and more than likely not in your kid's lifetime.
Yeah.
And it's wild to think about that conversation we had nearly 20 years ago.
Yeah.
We're on the cusp of electric vehicles, and to the point of, let's say if I pass down all of my knowledge to my son, he's 5. It's 2022. So he's 5. 10 years from now, he's going to be 15. It's going to be 2032.
Yeah.
Electric cars are going to be what's, hopefully going to be being sold for 2 years already only. You tack another.
Not hopefully.
Yeah, not hopefully, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You tack on another 10 years from there, he's 25. It's now 2045. And you're over a decade in to when the last combustion engine was potentially sold.
Yeah.
And now my son, who's 25, that's again, let's say I did pass on those only internal combustion engine skills to him. He's now working on vehicles that were minimum, like 15 years old.
Yeah.
And his kids will probably never drive an internal combustion engine.
Yeah.
My grandkids.
Yeah.
Will more than likely never drive an internal.
I hope
Unless they
not.
got Grandpa Ben around, because
Yeah.
you better damn well believe I'm going to have a whole bunch of boat anchor 7.3s hanging around.
I know.
Because if I get the land that I want for my next house, you better believe it's going to be a 7.3 graveyard real fucking fast. My wife's going to be pissed. But
For sure.
I'm going to be buying up every single 7.3, less than $1,000. Just bring it here.
Yeah.
Just bring it here.
Can we pause real quick?
Yeah.
I broke the seal. You talk to Corey. You guys can talk about big engines. Yeah, just don't even have to pause it. Just talk to Corey.
Yeah, we're not even going to stop the podcast. So sometimes we drink some barley juice on the podcast. If you don't know this,
I don't.
Corey doesn't, because he's got to actually type things on the computer and do.
I don't want to
special
spill things over here.
Yeah, I know. There's a lot of buttons and stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Corey, one of my favorite memes that I've been seeing recently, and the only reason I'm mentioning this is because we do talk about music. Me and Corey do a lot.
Yeah.
But we have talked about music on the podcast too quite a bit. But there's a meme that's been circulating around about there's like two of them. One of them is Suicide Silence, The Cleansing.
Mm-hmm.
That album cover of one of the girls from the Disney Channel when she's like 8 or 9 years old. Like with
Great album, by the way.
Great album. I freaking love that album.
Yeah.
By the way, if you're into the hardcore, actual fucking metal, Mitch Lucker, sorry. Mitch Lucker, rest in peace, passed away in a motorcycle accident. You only live once, my friend. Title of the song.
Yep.
But yeah, the album The Cleansing absolutely just kills it. Came out probably, was that 03, 4, 5 maybe?
Somewhere around there, yeah.
Right in there, yeah. No, I want to say it's like 06, 07. I want to say a little bit later than that.
Find out.
Yeah. But yeah, there's a picture of like one of the Disney characters when she's a kid, and then next to it's the album cover, The Cleansing, and then there's a picture of her like 25 years from now with that same satisfied look, and it's the album cover, The Cleansing. It's like, yeah, this album's held up. 20 years later, still good.
I mean, it has.
It has. I love that album. Every time it comes on, No Pity for a Coward. Oh my God. That thing rips so hard. If you are looking for a song.
07.
07, okay. If you are looking for a song that just hits you in the metal, hardcore scene primals, that song, the band is called Suicide Silence, and the song is No Pity for a Coward. And that the bridge at the end of the song is just like, that's like, I will fist through the ceiling of my truck like by myself. Like, yeah, pull a trigger, bitch. It's like, it's so good, so good.
Yeah.
No idea what you guys.
No
are
idea.
talking about.
I was stoked to hear After the Burial going in your office earlier.
Yeah. Lost in the Static. It's a good one. Also a good one if you guys need if you're feeling a little lethargic in the gym and you need something, especially if you're, I don't condone deadlifts necessarily for anybody. I know they have their place, but if you need something where you just got to start moving some weight, maybe you're doing the sled, the band After the Burial, song Lost in the Static.
How is that possible?
Are we totally even? Yeah. Our drinks are totally even. We got to refill our barley juice. But yeah, Lost in the Static. Again, I hope that whatever headphones you're listening on has some good low end, because that brings it. That song brings it for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Cheers.
Yeah. Cheers, boys.
So what you were talking about earlier before I rudely left, talking about your kids, like you're gonna be a grandpa, hopefully, and then like that's like the end of, like they're not even gonna be interested. This goes back to that conversation we had. Like, I feel like we are the last generation of freaking gearheads, dude. Like, what's going to be the gearheads? Like, what do you call motor? Like, first of all, the term motorhead. Like, when I was in school, my teacher, if you called an engine a motor, he would like get mad at you.
Yeah.
But like, a motor's electric.
Exactly.
It's an engine.
Yep.
Okay. So, but at the same time, like, I think like anybody over 30 that's a gearhead, you're going to be the last generation of gearheads.
So there have been a couple of good responses and comments on YouTube about that.
Yeah.
Because we mentioned a couple times.
Yeah.
And a couple of them are positive. A couple of them are kind of like, oh yeah, we're done, we're fucked. But some of them they're like, no, I've seen some of these young kids, the gearhead, just the way they consume gearhead stuff is different than we did. We had to like literally buy the book. Like, go purchase the book. Or maybe if you were lucky, you get it on CD-ROM.
Yeah, or you knew somebody.
Or you knew someone and they had to explain it to you. They'd come over and show you. Or, like I said, like you quite literally flip to the index of a 4-inch page, 4-inch thick book.
Yeah.
And figure it out from there. There was no
100%.
YouTube or anything. And what one of the folks said on the comments on YouTube is like, these kids, they are still out there. I don't know if the number as wide of them as there are before, but they are consuming knowledge faster than we could ever imagine. And if you think about it, they're not wrong. If a
They're not wrong.
If a young guy out there now, and I'm talking young, let's say sub 20. Okay, kid's not even 20 yet. I said kid. I thought I was a big man when I was 18.
Yeah.
You're a kid, man. Shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
You don't know shit.
So
If you told me that, I'd be so pissed. Getting old.
It is weird.
If this kid wants to buy, and I'm gonna kind of, we're gonna use an LS, a 5.3, because it's the modern day 350. We all know that.
Yeah.
Okay. This kid wants to go out and buy a 99 to 2010 or 99 to 06, 99 to 07, whatever the generation was, Silverado with a 5.3 in it with a blown motor. He can go on YouTube. Yeah. He can click the button to order an entire LS rebuild kit.
Yeah.
Literally, like, what serial number is it? Okay, we got you here, buddy.
Yeah.
He doesn't have to go to the parts store and talk to a guy that's got a rack full of books and possibly order the wrong part and wait for weeks for them to come in or something like that. He is able to buy the truck and know nothing about it, watch YouTube videos, hopefully diagnose somewhat correctly about what he has going on, and within minutes order parts with the power of Amazon or other websites and have those parts in his hands, less than 96 hours, and start working on this thing. And if he needs tools, there's Harbor Freight. There's everywhere else that has stuff like that. Where Home Depot, Lowe's, you got tools. If you can't find the tool you're looking for, guess what? Get on Amazon again with your Prime. You get it in a day and a half.
I think all that's true. That's all true.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like when I was a kid in school, and we got our licenses. Like, first of all, I was like on the ball. Like it was in driver's ed, like as early as I could.
Yeah.
I cared about what I was driving.
Yeah.
Where I think like kids nowadays, they don't care. Like you could have an 18-year-old kid that's making decent money, whatever job he's doing, and he'll go buy like a brand new Toyota Camry. Like, dude, that is the stupidest shit I've ever seen anybody go buy. Like, that's dumb. Why would you do that? That's, first of all, that car. Do you like men? Do you like? What, do you,
oh man,
like no. That.
I've got
but
a whole
here's the
thing.
thing. Back in the day, that was a suitable insult. Like that was light compared to like you cared what you drove.
You drove a Camry because it was handed down to you.
Yeah, like there was a time where I drove a Ford Escape, Escort, for a very short amount of time because I cared what I was driving, and I didn't want to be. I didn't want to be seen in that car. I couldn't justify that car to my buddies, anybody around me. I couldn't there's no mileage. Nobody cared about that.
Yeah.
I think cars, trucks, whatever is slowly. It used to be a statement, like here's what I got, and it's not like I want to say it's like a flex, but it's not really a flex at the same time because it's like when you're a man, like you had cool shit, like especially a car. Like that's the one thing. You could have a shitty house or a shitty apartment,
fast car.
Yeah, you have a cool freaking ass car. Yeah. But nowadays it's like, these kids are going and buying these, Toyota Urus or whatever. Like that, it saddens me to like drive down the road and look over and see a young guy in like a brand new whatever the fuck.
Yeah. So two things pop into my head. Is the scene from 22 Jump Street, whatever, when they it's the first or second one when they pull up and he's in the Camaro.
The first one, yeah.
Yeah, it's like,
we're gonna get a cool, because they like, try to give him something. Yeah,
just don't have to be revving the engine and shit. And he pulls up and he's like, yeah, one strap it. You got a one strap it. What was that thing get, like 8 miles a gallon? Yeah, probably less. That's fucked up, man. Think about the environment. You know what's going on there?
Exactly.
See, this Volvo runs on vegetable oil. It's like 45 miles a gallon. Good for the environment.
Yeah. Which none of that happened. None of that, like, that was not a thing at like my high school.
Oh, hell no.
Like, not at all.
Not even a little bit.
I was rolling up in a 1963 Ford Fairlane 2-door Post. Like, I parked next to my buddy driving a freaking like 68 Impala.
You used to almost brag about the shit mileage you got.
Yeah. Yeah, like you weren't cool unless you got like 2 miles to the gallon.
Dude, I burned an entire tank just racing people.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Literally. Just I probably got a fuel leak, don't even care.
Yeah.
And guess what? I got $5. It's gonna last me the entire week.
Well, that's why I think like we've been conned, we've been bamboozled by the by the government and by other entities saying that we need to again, goes back to our whole climate conversation. Again, I can't get behind it if we're the only ones doing the right thing or whatever the quote unquote right thing is, when everybody else, bigger countries than us with more population, is doing way worse. Like, it doesn't make any sense.
Here's my thing about trucks.
Yeah.
And I mentioned a little bit before, but you hit the nail on the head a little bit there. All these younger kids buying these.
Yeah.
And again, it was like, I didn't, like, I judged the kid at my high school that had the hand-me-down Camry, but at the same time, it's like, dude, you got a car, it's tight.
Yeah. Yes.
Right.
Yes. 100%.
Hey, no problem.
If it's your friend. Yeah.
Yeah. At least, oh, you got a cool stereo on it? Right on, man. That's tight. AC works? Sick.
Yeah.
If someone handed that down to me and it was between that or nothing, yeah, I'd take it. But would I rather have my truck?
Yeah. What I would be doing was be trying to get that as clean as possible to sell it for the most money to get what I wanted.
And so here's a little bit of a follow me here, folks. Okay. The pussification of man.
100%.
100%. And I think a little bit of that is there are some ladies out there that have lost touch with the ladies. How am I going to put this right? Ladies want to be the lady until it's not time to be the lady anymore, and then they don't want to be the lady. They want to be the wife, or they want to be the female in the relationship. They don't want to be woman. They don't want to be they want to be strong woman, but at the same time they want to be the wifey.
Yeah.
And it's I don't know when it clicked in my head, but I knew that the type of girls that I wanted to attract to me, the truck was part of the equation.
Yeah.
Okay. And I'm not saying that like you have to have a cool truck. Okay. I pulled my wife with a Ford Ranger. All right. Okay. I'm not saying it has to be some big badass truck, but there's something about a man who drives a fucking truck.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't care if you're a young man. I don't care if you're an old man.
Yeah.
There's just, and I've said it before, Dad has a truck. Dad drives a truck. That was always a thing. Even growing up in the Bay Area, blue ass, Alameda, California, Alameda County, in like the bluest of the blue Bay Area. Dad drives a truck.
Yeah.
I don't care if your dad is an accountant. Your dad drives a truck.
Yeah.
Dad drives a truck. Mom drives the van.
Yeah.
There's a Corvette in the garage.
Yeah.
Or it's Mustang in the garage.
Yeah.
Dad drives the truck. Mom drives the car. Drives the van. Dad drives a truck.
Yeah.
Okay?
The
man drives a truck. And I know I don't own a truck at the moment. I own a 7.3 Excursion.
It can be considered. I would still
give me a pass on that one, okay, guys?
You get.
But it's also because I'm pulling funds to purchase another truck.
Right.
Okay? And that's also because my wife is going to drive the Excursion.
Yeah.
Because my wife loves, she's a pickup truck man. Like she wants a pickup truck man.
I think it's badass.
It just, Dad drives a truck. The man drives a truck. So when I see these younger kids electing to, I don't have to have a truck. I will buy a Toyota Yaris. It just makes me kind of sick,
It's disgusting.
At least if you don't need a truck, And you're thinking to yourself, or like, I don't need a truck. I'm going to buy a Subaru. Okay. Go get yourself an early 2000s STI, man. Or get yourself a turbo wagon. Like, don't be a bitch about it. Like, just because you decide you don't need a truck. And I get it. There are, like, I knew folks that lived, like, in San Francisco when I was going to school in the Bay Area. It's like, and they truthfully did not, they barely needed a vehicle, period.
Yeah.
But they did not need a truck. And there were dudes that didn't need a truck. I get that. But you know what they were driving? They were driving, like, engine swap Civics.
Yeah.
Or they were driving, a Fox Body Mustang.
No, but that's a whole. I think as much as I don't like the tuner car sort of industry or whatever.
Still
you
got
call
respect
it,
for it.
I still have respect for it because they're still motorheads.
Yeah.
Like even if it's not a truck, they're still motorheads.
Yeah.
It's the kid that got a good job and his first vehicle he wants to spend money on is that new Camry or whatever it may be.
Mm-hmm.
Like that to me is like, come on, man. Like your ball's got to drop sometime, maybe next year. I don't know, man.
like, hey, man, I was hoping for some like grandkids, and and I don't know what you're gonna make with whatever you're pulling with that.
Yeah,
but,
does it come with duct tape to tape up your?
Take it back.
It's I know this is we have gone completely off the rails from International's engine, badass, cool, but at the same time, it's still the reason for that engine is basically what we're talking about now. Yeah. So it's
and this is why you love our podcast, by the way. Because you're gonna get the information about a new International engine that's changing the game here, and you're also gonna get two guys getting real kind of hot about being
talking
gearheads and
women.
motorheads, and because if you're listening to this, you're probably a motorhead too. Yeah. But mark my words, if my son, he's 5 now, I can already tell he has a, obviously likes cars, likes Transformers, loves my truck, loves the Excursion, loves big engines, all that kind of stuff. If as he gets older, if he decides he wants to and again, I mean this, I truly mean this, and I'm not saying this, but if he's like, Dad, I want to I think we watched Fast and the Furious, and he's like, dude, that green Civic is cool. I kind of want to build a Civic. Let's go find a Civic.
Yeah.
You want to tear the engine out? You want to do it? I'm down.
Let's
do it.
I could get behind that. 100%.
Get behind that.
You're getting your hands dirty. You're building an engine or whatever you're gonna do. Swap it, whatever. Like that's cool.
And then after we build that Civic up, and it's I'm not saying this thing's gonna be a rocket ship, but after we build that Civic up and it's like quick, maybe kind of fast.
Yeah.
I'm gonna pull whatever old, big cammed LS I have hanging out in the back, or whatever old 7.3 I got hanging around that still has the big injectors in it. I'm going to pull that out. I'm going to dust it off. I'm going to drain the diesel out, put some new diesel in, and we're going to line up. I'm going to fucking toast his ass. All right? And I'm going to be like, hey, cubic inches.
Yeah,
all right?
baby.
Okay?
Yeah.
Yeah. No replacement for displacement.
Yeah. Gas is for cleaning parts, bro.
Yeah.
Diesel's for making power, homie.
Guess what I have? I got a turbo too. Did you hear it? I'm sure you did because it's straight piped, and you're a lowered car.
Yeah.
That means this exhaust went straight in your fucking window, kid.
The best was my lug nuts have more torque than your Honda.
Straight up.
Straight up. Yeah.
Your displacement's what I drink at dinner.
Dude, speaking of that, the lug nut one,
yeah,
I actually said that to someone on Division when I had my racing someone. This little Honda pulled up next to me, and this is right when I had my second gen running good. Yeah. For a VP truck, that thing got down. Mm-hmm. This guy wanted to race me, and I gave him that comment, and it was I was like, oh shit, I fucking did it, yeah. It was cool. It was cool, but yeah, it's a totally different world that especially if all these if everything they're saying is going to be 100% true, it's going to be weird. It's going to be weird for us because we're, especially, I know me personally, and I know you too, I would consider us at this point kind of old school when it comes to, engines and that sort of thing. And to see all this new technology coming, obviously we're going to learn about it and do our best to get our hands on it and actually, see it in person and how it works and that sort of thing. But at the same time, my heart and my soul is still with, the older trucks. Yeah. It's just there's something about the older technology that is just it's just cool. It's just cool.
is.
I can't really explain it other than it's just cool.
It is.
It just gets me going.
You can't learn cool. You can't design, you can't force cool.
Yeah.
Certain things just happen.
Yeah.
And that's going to be one of those things.
Yeah.
The
It's
60s
wild,
and 70s muscle cars are always going to be cool.
100%. Yeah.
The designs of like 30s, or I say 40s and 50s cars, it's going to be something that's never going to be replicated.
Never again.
And I go through phases too. Like I saw parked in a parking lot on the way in here this morning. I saw it had to be a 40s something, just because it still had that big narrow front nose, fender lights. I don't know what it was. It was a coupe something, but immediately I see one of those. I'm like, damn, I wouldn't mind having one of those. I wouldn't mind having a coupe that's like that. And when the door sill is all the way up here because you chop the seats nice and low because you chop the roof.
Yeah.
You got your girl in there, riding around with I don't care. And you've heard us talk about like what we would want if we had like a gas power car or something like that. As long as it's I would even LS swap it. I mean, I don't care. The goal for me is like get out there and have fun and drive and be with your wife, be with your kids, be with your friends, all kind of good stuff. But having one of those, like even a cammed LS in there with a freaking automatic.
It's a totally different. All steel cars with those body lines and the swooping fenders and just the sexiness of those cars is not even close to like nowadays it's all plastic. It's all composite material. It's just it doesn't have the same feel as those old cars do. It's just I don't know. I hope it keeps. I hope it keeps going, but at the same time, I kind of hope it doesn't because I want some of this stuff to get cheap so I can buy some of it. But no, I in all fairness, I do want more people to be involved in being an enthusiast in this kind of stuff rather than just a buyer of I just bought a car and I don't care about it kind of a thing like that. I don't like that.
No.
I'll never be that person.
No, not at all. I will always buy something, clean it, fix the parts. I do like, I think that's my niche, and we're getting ready to close this one up, but I think that that is my niche as far as vehicles. I like the mid-late 90s to mid-late 2000s.
Yeah.
So I'd say like 95 to 2010. That's my wheelhouse of the vehicles I like. I like taking those and just making them right.
Yeah. There's nothing wrong with that.
I'm not gonna lie. So I am searching for a diesel pickup right now. Obviously, I've got a little bit of money in my pocket. It is sort of burning a hole, but I'm trying not to let it.
Yeah.
In my search, I may or may not have searched a couple of Fox Body Mustangs. Because I'm like,
ice.
I know, right? I'm like, hey, man, if I've got a couple extra grand hanging around, and I'm not saying I'm not loaded by any means, but I've got a couple extra grand as I kind of play money to buy the next truck, and maybe in the meantime I'll buy, find myself a manual Fox Body, and
honestly, so I'm, I like Ford classic cars. I wouldn't consider that a classic. I consider that kind of a
it's in the middle
bastard
somewhere.
child.
It is a bastard child, totally.
The cars that I've actually gotten interested in, which I think are kind of cool and freaking mean looking, are like those Firebirds and the Camaros. What do they call them? Like the W6 or whatever. The badass.
The WS6s.
Yeah,
those things rip. They are so good.
Nasty looking too.
The Pontiac Firebird WS6s.
Dude,
they
are
down.
Dude, those are badass.
Yeah.
Like I'd be looking at those over.
We have one. It's just not the WS6. So I call it the Fire Chicken because
is it the W? I want to make sure I'm talking about the right thing because my knowledge of GM classic cars is shit. Like I'm a Ford classic.
So it's not a classic. It's got the body style of like a late 90s Camaro. WS6 Firebird or Trans Am. Yeah.
Yes, that's the one. 100%. Dude, those things are nasty. That hood on that thing looks like some nostrils on a freaking dragon, dude.
So with that genre of vehicle in mind, if I was to go that way, the mid 2000s GTOs.
Oh yeah. Yeah, those things get down too.
Those are
and they're super like sleeper car.
They look like a Grand Prix.
They do. They're a sleeper.
They fucking move.
Oh yeah, they get down.
They do.
They
not,
get down.
They can get a 6. You can get a 6. I think it was a 6.0 or a 6.2 in them or something like that with a manual 6 speed.
Yeah. My buddy had one. My buddy Kyle has one.
Nasty.
Dude, they're badass.
Yeah.
But the thing I don't like about them, but I like at the same time, is the body shape and the whole body of them. Like, they're super unassuming. Like, you don't, like, if you looked at it from afar, you wouldn't see, like, oh, that's a GTO. Like, it's just kind of a.
You wouldn't even think it's a GTO. You think it's a 2-door Grand Prix.
Right.
100%.
Yeah. So
but
it's
you get
kind
closer
of weird,
to it, and you're like,
that Firebird though.
are those 305s in the back?
I just, dude, that Firebird just looks nasty. Just looks nasty.
Yeah.
I those cars are cool. I would get one of those cars. Like, those are badass. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I don't know. I'd like to get. I know we're totally off topic now. I'd honestly like to get like like maybe in like 10, 15 years, I'd like to pick up a newer Challenger. Mm-hmm. I think they're cool. I like the Challengers. Yeah. I think it's one of the coolest looking new body style, redo of a classic car. Like, one of the best ones that has come out. I do think the new Mustangs are badass. They've definitely hit the nail on the head with the body styling. Like, it looks like a newer version fastback Mustang. It's cool. Mm-hmm. But the Challenger, they hit the nail on the head from the beginning. Like, it just looks like a Challenger, a new like they took the same body shapes and made a new Challenger. I think those are cool. Yeah, they're fun. I don't know, dude. There's so many cars. I'd like to get an SRT8 Jeep too. I think that would be badass. I think those are cool. I don't know. There's so many, dude. There's so many.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how would you feel if I rolled up to work with a manual Fox Body 5.0?
Dude, they're still cool, don't get me wrong, but as long as it's not a convertible.
Oh no. Okay. I do have the hatchbacks. I get it, but I do love the notchbacks, the coupes. For some reason, I don't know what it is. When I was in high school, it has to be hatchback was all about it, but
it has to be loud and
back.
fast. It has to be fast, like out the gate. If it's like just like a stock one, I'm gonna be like, dude, that's kind of gay.
Okay, I mean, I gotta get in there, but I gotta say though, because I would only be going for probably like, and I don't know this specific gear splits, but like I want to say it's like the headlight style of like a 91 to 94 or a 90 to 94 or something like that.
It's still cool. Don't get me wrong. But.
So I mean, those from the factory, they don't make a ton of power, but it's a super light vehicle, and with a manual, with exhaust,
you can do a lot of cool shit to them.
Those things,
yeah. They're cool.
They sound good. They get down. They got a small wheelbase. They flick around. There's a reason that they kill people.
They're cool. I just I liked that Mustang for a very short amount of time. Mm-hmm. That one's an iffy one for me. I wouldn't think it's stupid. Like, I still think it's cool.
All right, cool.
But if I was you, I'd be looking at a Camaro or a Firebird. 100%.
Nah, G-body.
G-body. Give myself a little donk.
Yeah. Grand National.
Yeah, dude. Oh god, don't get me started. I love those things. Yeah. Those things are so cool.
I think if I had to do something in the G-body frame, I'd probably do something in the Olds family.
Yeah.
For some reason, I don't know why. Some of the old, like Cutlass or something like that. Yeah.
He's putting some wire wheels and some hydros on.
This is how stupid the way I feel about cars or something like that. I instantly, again, I was talking about 5.0 Mustang, right? Yeah. 2-door, no back seat. Yeah. Instantly, when I think about G-body, I'm like, well, I could technically find a G-body wagon that's a 4-door with a 350 in it.
Do you want to cool that are kind of underrated are the Lincoln Continentals, the one with the suicide doors for the back door.
Mm-hmm. 67 bagged. That's my dream car right there.
Those are bad to the freaking bone, dude. Yep. And they put big motors in those things.
Oh yeah.
Well, you got the engine. You got an engine compartment that could fit like.
You can fit like
whatever
V12 in there. Yeah, whatever. I mean, you can fit that S13 that we're talking about in there. Those things are cool though. Like that's like a cruiser. My buddy Mark's got this '67 Cadillac convertible.
Oh, it's got a 500 in it, doesn't it?
Yeah, dude, it's bad to the bone.
500 with a 2-speed. Yeah.
The guy that had it before him took the body off and he powder coated the frame. Like it's like ready to go, and he hasn't done anything to it. I'm trying to get him to sell it to me because I think that'd be cool, just like a cruiser.
Totally.
Like I would totally, even though I'm not a Cadillac guy like whatsoever, it would just be a cool cruiser.
I had a guy that worked at the GM dealership that had one of those as his highway car.
Yeah.
And he's like, I know it sounds weird. Like, this got a 500 with a 2-speed in it. This thing on the highway, I know speed limits are, in California, they're high now. He's like, I cruise this thing at like 55, 60. I shit you not. This thing, AC's ice cold. You basically sit on a couch, rides smooth.
Yeah.
Okay? This thing gets 16 miles a gallon. Wow. Yeah, I mean, he's like, you can't floor it. You can't get down.
No.
Like, don't get me wrong, but this thing, like, cruising on the highway, it is the most comfortable.
Yeah.
One finger on the steering wheel.
Yeah. Just cruising.
Cruising on the
And
overstuffed.
looking good.
Dude.
Looking good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the moral of this whole story is don't buy a freaking Toyota Camry, you pussy bitch, or a Toyota Yaris. Look for a classic car and be a man about it. If you want a truck but you want a car, get a freaking El Camino or a Ranchero. Those are cool.
You're gonna attract a whole new type of girl with that.
Hey, you never know. She might be your wife.
Yeah. I can tell you this right now. We've talked about it before. I don't think my wife would have continued. I don't think I would have pulled the type of females that I did. And I'm not saying I was like I didn't like pull all kinds of like whatever, but like once I realized what I needed to put out there is what was going to get me what I wanted to attract. I truly, and timing was everything. I don't think my wife would have kept talking to me if I had a car.
Yeah.
And it's only because I'm going to get a little bit deep here. It's the end of the podcast. Get deep. I'm going to sit down. Kumbaya sesh. But my wife had dated a couple other folks, a couple of guys, obviously. And, some of them, one of them even had like a Corvette. Some of them had fast cars and stuff like that. And she was basically, she was falling into starting to date the Bay Area stereotype.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that I'm on a Bay Area stereotype. I still have my Bay Area shows every now and then again, right?
Yeah.
But I do typically have kind of some old school man tendencies.
Yeah.
And after she, dated a couple of those guys, it was kind of like, I am not finding what I want. And all of a sudden, Dirtbag Ben comes around, real rough around the edges, barely gets his pee in the toilet, doesn't know how to fold a towel.
Yeah.
Drives a truck, works with his hands. Free time is spent getting drunk or working. That's it. That's all I do. I barely go to school.
Yeah.
Apparently, I somehow got an engineering degree, but I spent most of my time working and drinking.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened. I can talk good.
Yeah.
But I drive a truck.
Yeah.
My she's like, that's what I want. And I'm like, I'm your Huckleberry.
Yeah.
Come at me, baby.
Yeah.
And that's the moral of the story.
Yeah.
So
drive a truck or a classic car.
yeah.
Don't be a bitch.
Don't be a bitch.
That's how we're ending this one.
Just remember, Dad drives a truck.
Yeah.
Dad drives a truck.
You want to own a home? Get a truck.
Podcast out.
Thanks for tuning in. Make sure to subscribe and check us out at dieselpowerproducts.com.